As of yesterday, I completed 5 months of strength training. Let's look at the results. But before that, a quick reminder of my goals so I have something to compare to. And my goal is to become a strong bitch and regain my freedom. And specifically by regain my freedom, I mean not feeling limited, which I am now and I feel now because I wouldn't, I don't fly because I can't fit in the chairs. I can't go and sit in any chair with arm rests because I won't fit. I feel limited in my life and I don't want that anymore. I want to be free to do whatever I want to do. And as for the first part, well, I used to want to be this really thin, super fit, super petite woman. But I'm a tall, big woman. I always have been. And that goal doesn't align with something I even believe that I can be. And I've figured out that being someone who's strong enough to take care of her people, strong enough to take care of myself, that's who I am. I strongly identify with this personality and it gets me excited. Now you know, so let's look at the results from strength training 3 times a week for 5 months. And I want to start at the top with the exercise I have most gains in, which also happens to be my most favorite exercise. Go figure. And it's the deadlift. And when I started, as you can see here, I was using a kettlebell. And I used the smallest one my gym has, which is 18 pounds. That's where I started. And now I'm doing with a barbell, adding weights, and I'm up to 121 pounds. Now that's impressive. That's an increase of 688%. That's how much stronger I've gotten. Oh, and just to give you some reference, this is not my 1 rep max. At the beginning, I was doing 3 sets of 10, and by the latest numbers that I have are 3 sets of 6 repetitions. So let's look at these 3 next. This is the lat pull down, the bench press, and the row. And here I started at 55 pounds for the lat pull down and 44 pounds for the bench press and the row. And as you can see in the increase, 131 pounds and 88 pounds. That's how far I've gotten in 5 months. 240% or 200%. Now that's not nearly as much as on the deadlift, but it's still quite good. I'm really happy with that number and I'm glad to see it. Next, let's look at the overhead press, which I didn't start with in January. I actually started with it in February, week 5. So this is between week 5 and week 20. And there's still a pretty good increase from 33 pounds to 60 pounds, almost 200%. It's at 183%. Still really happy with that. And last but not least, the leg press or the squat. And this is a really hard to say a number on because I did squats for like 2 months before I started doing leg presses. And it's a big difference in how you measure that because when I do a squat, of course, I'm lifting my own body weight. Currently, I'm at 374 pounds. And we'll get to the weight loss in a bit. Now, that's a lot of weight to carry. Whereas if I'm sitting down in the leg press, I'm pushing a certain amount of weight. And when I started doing that in week 9, I started at 174 pounds. And I've been able to scale that up and progress to 242 pounds, which is still a pretty good increase, 138 pounds. It's not near the 374 that I actually squat, but I have noticed that I have a better range of motion when I do my squats. And I just feel stronger doing them as well. So I know there's progress, even though it's a bit tricky to measure it. Looking at these essential compound exercises, I am really happy with the results. I feel stronger, I am stronger, and more confident in doing these exercises. I also want to be completely transparent and truthful and look at some other things as well when it comes to strength and my physical change. One of them is walking, or I should say cardio, which I've done barely anything, which was on purpose. And changes for the last 5 months, well, there's none. I still get winded when I walk up some stairs. That's exactly the same as it was 5 months ago. Which makes sense because if I don't train it, then I won't improve. That's the way it is. I also still have a hard time bending over, reaching down to put on my socks or tie my shoes and stuff like that, which is very common with big people like me. And I haven't trained any flexibility or mobility exercises pretty much, so that makes sense. Lately, I've also been feeling a bit stiff. I haven't felt that for the first 4 months. Only these last few weeks I've been feeling a little bit of stiffness, so I am going to incorporate some flexibility exercises going forward. I've done some calculations, and I think I've gained at least 5.5 pounds of muscle since I started this in January, and I'm really happy with that. Looking at the results of weight loss, I started at 377 pounds, currently at 374 pounds, and as I calculated, 5.5 pounds of muscle, which has replaced fat, means that I've lost in fat 8.5 pounds of fat, which is pittance for 5 months of work. It is way less than I thought it would be, and we need to talk about it. First and foremost, weight loss, or fat loss I should say, is not just about a number on a scale. So I've been analyzing and looking, and my clothes don't fit better than they did 5 months ago. And when I looked at some pictures I have from January and compared them to pictures I took today, I can barely see any different. I mean, maybe a minuscule, but it could also be my mind playing tricks on me. Like I don't think there's a difference, except for my face. Now you can see here, well, I can see at least that I had more like puffy cheeks and more rounded face as compared to now. So I know there's some change there, which is great, but it's not nearly as much as one would hope after training for 5 months, three days a week. I think the main reason for this is probably going to be my diet. I've decided not to talk much about diet on this YouTube, and I probably won't talk a lot about it going forward either. But in broad strokes, I've not done anything. I decided this time around I wanted to be more free and more positive and kind to myself. So I've just continued to eat whatever I want. I have continued to binge once in a while. I do these things and still train. And I think that's probably why I haven't lost that much weight. And if I were to restrict the calorie intake, then I'd probably lose more weight faster. But then again, I might also switch mentally to a more limited mindset, and that might make me sadder, which might make me want to eat more or not want to go to the gym. I'm not really sure how everything goes together. I know it's connected mentally and physically, but like the major benefit of all of this, these 5 months, the most impressive result, and this is the thing that also my partner noticed when I asked him about it in me, is my commitment and consistency. I've done this now for 5 months, 3 times a week for 4 months and 4 times a week for this last month. And I am more determined now than I ever was before. I'm doing this and I don't care how long time it takes. And that's impressive. And to be honest, I think if I try to also change my diet, I might have faltered on the training. I'm not sure, but it feels good to get the training down. I feel I got it down. I'm in it now. I want to do this. I want to build. It helps, of course, starting a YouTube channel and sharing with you guys. But I mean, it just feels good. So I'm not going to berate myself. I'm going to keep going, see where I end up, keep sharing with you. I do want to share some more benefits that I've seen for the last few months. I asked my partner actually what he's seen in me changes. I already mentioned the one which was about consistency. He also mentioned that I binge less now than I did before. And I believe him, but I didn't think about it. I do think generally I feel healthier and happier, and therefore I'm just less inclined to pig out on stuff that's not good for me. I've learned also more healthy food. Even though I'm not restricting myself, I still want to eat healthy, so I try some new stuff. I just also allow myself to eat all the other stuff I want to that's not as healthy. I've also noticed that I sleep better, fall asleep easier, sleep more through the night, getting up earlier, and I have more energy. Probably because I'm sleeping better, but also probably because of all these other things. And I'm just more excited about life. I just want to get out and do more things, and the more I do, the happier I get, So I know I'm in this positive spiral, and I just want to keep going, see where it leads me. Those were the results of the first 5 months. I'm going to keep going. Thank you for checking in with me. And if I can do this, you can too. See you at the gym.